How to apply layer effects in Affinity Photo. Here's a layer effect, just created using a basic 3D effect, and you can create a variety of different designs. So how to create your first layer effect. Let's just remove that. First thing to do, let's just create a shape. I'm just going to go and create this. And with this, I can now go to layers. You can find that in the window menu, all the way down here to layers. Also, another useful one, styles. So with this, I've got layers over here. And I can go to effects. So just click effects, just down here, right at the bottom, and then effects, and go to 3D. Now there's a variety of other options, loads and loads of other options, but I'm just going to generally go with 3D. So 3D, got that set there. Now that's on, you can see all the settings available. I can also then change the radius. As I do that, you can see that will increase and you get a lovely effect like that. Now there's no color here. I've just applied it to a white shape. Now I can change it. I'm just go over here, go here and click and maybe go for say red or maybe orange. So with that, I can now tweak this further. The 3D goes up to 100 pixels, just here, radius. Well, you can override that. You can put it to, say, 300. So it's 300. So you get a more sort of rounded effect, or maybe 400. And you can vary it, obviously, in numerous ways just by changing this value. So I'm just going to go with 400 at this point. You'll also notice there's a depth here. Now it's linked to the radius. To remove that, simply click here. So now that's removed. What you can also do then is change the depth. And you can see that does have an effect. Now you might want to keep it at say 200 or 300, say. So I'm just going to go with that. Gives it a sort of more blurry like effect. You can also modify the soften. So you can change that. And again, it's very, very subtle, but it has an effect. Probably the most dynamic effect is profile. So just click here. And now you can just go there and click one of these standard profiles and you can see the effect there. You can also go to standard profile, this one, the second one, and maybe that one or that one, and so on. So you can see a variety of different designs can be created. But you can also click on here at any point, just click there, and that will add a little node. And you can just drag this up, drag this down, and change the style that's applied. And you can go here and just tweak it. Now this does not affect here. That's not changed. You can click anywhere there. Now sometimes it will just suddenly disappear like that. But you can bring it back very quickly and then modify it further. And just drag this down. And you can see a variety of different designs can be developed. But what you can also do is you can modify this, diffuse. So you can see, reduce that down. You can also go for specular, push that up, and you can see as you do that, put it down, put it up, get a lovely effect there. Shininess, you can reduce that down, and you can go the other way as well. So I think about there looks the most plastic-like effect anyway. You can also modify the ambient. I'm just going to keep it about there, and you can change the colour, etc. You can also add additional light sources, and that can be used to create some interesting effects. Simply go to add. And you can see now it's slightly brighter, but also you can now tweak this independently. So you can create interesting designs just by modifying this light source and maybe go back to this one and then tweak that as well. And you can see a variety of designs. And you can also change the color. So click here, maybe go with say blue. So you get a lovely sort of bluish pink effect there, I think, or purple probably more likely. Okay, once you've got that, you can then close it. Well, you can save it as well. That's a really useful thing. You can save this and just simply do over here to the styles. Again, window and styles. With styles, go here. You can add a category as well. It's really useful. Obviously, if you're going to create lots of layer effect styles, it's really nice to have a layer effects section. And I created that earlier, but you can go here, right side menu, add new category. That's what it is. Just that wasn't there before. Simply go to add new category. Once you've added it, you can then add all your styles to that. So add style from selection. That's what this is, a style. So add style from selection, and that's the object selected. So click that, and you can see it's now added there. Now the view is not great here. It's not the best. And also, of course, when you apply it to a different shape, you will get different results. It will look fairly similar, but it will still be different. So they've just gone for a very basic rounded bevel looking effect there. Okay, let's just remove that. So I can now, because I've saved that style, I can apply it to something else. So just go over here, maybe the rectangle tool. You, of course, can use anything else. So just drag and create that. And you can change the colour here, of course. You can just maybe make it blue. But as soon as you click here, you'll notice the effect ends up like that. At this point, you can now go and modify the layer effect again. Just go over here, layer has been applied, and you can see every time you apply a layer effect, you'll get this little effects. That's always appearing. So effects, always there if you've applied one of these. But again, you can modify it further. So as long as it's selected, you can click here. Effects, that's just down the bottom there. You've got 3D. It's exactly the same as before. All the settings are saved. Now you can use this slider. However, you notice as soon as you do that, it will put it back to 100 to create a sort of frame effect in this case. But you can always change it again. You can always go say, oh, you know what, I want 700 in this case. Depending on, of course, the object. Or maybe 300. You can vary them. It doesn't change the style. So this style here is totally untouched. Nothing's changed. Purely now, everything you change here is just modifying that shape there. And again, you can click here and you can modify this profile, or you can remove it if you want. You don't have to keep it, but you can see you can drag that down. You can add a certain number of points. There's a limit. There is a limit. So if you suddenly find that it's not adding anymore, well, that's it. You just try and add one, it will just ignore you and just drag that down. So you can see you can create designs like that. Exactly the same as before. You can go and add modified direction, say. Change light sources, maybe add an additional one, a third or fourth, though I always find that after a while it doesn't really add much to it when you keep adding more and more light sources. You can also go down here, scale with object, which I think is really useful to actually always remember to set, and close. And again, if you want, you can always go and save it over to style. Again, this is obviously this one, but what you can do, again, this menu over here, right side menu, add style from selection. And that's stored away there. Let's just remove that again. And then just create another shape. This time maybe a star. Let's go for a star. And I can then maybe change the number of points. And I'm just going to go something like that. So you've got a lovely star design. But now what you can do, simply apply that style by just clicking here. And then you've got that effect. And you can still modify these. So you can still go to the points, change this, create all kinds of unique designs that way. Now, as soon as you rasterize it, you can rasterize this, then you no longer can change, obviously, these settings here. So if you want, make certain you get the right design like that, or maybe this, the outer circle, and so on. And then you can rasterize it, because that's what I'm going to do next. So I've got this design. What I can now do, I can go to layer and I can rasterize. So layer and rasterize. And then just click here. Make certain you turn that off. I don't want to preserve it. I want to rasterize it. All becomes one pixel layer. And you can see over here, you've got pixel layer and you've got no effects being listed there. But it does mean now that you can go here and just click this again. And sometimes it will create something really interesting. Sometimes it will just ignore you. It doesn't look like it's done anything. Maybe click this one. You can see that one there, or this one. Or maybe that one. And then some will have quite a dramatic effect. Some will result in really not very much at all. But you can see you can create some very interesting designs by just clicking these ones. Again, like I say, sometimes it does require a second click to make certain that it's applied. But also, obviously, it's taking a bit of processing power to create this. You do exactly the same as before. You can go to layer and then down here and you can rasterize it. So rasterize, again, turn this off, rasterize, and you can do the same. So again, just go down there and click one of these ones, and hopefully some effect will be applied. but sometimes it will just be not very much at all. You can still go and modify it, go to effects here, click there, and again go to 3D, and you can modify it, soften, click profile, change that, and you can see as you change that, the result is again a very different design. And you can modify these settings as well if you wish, as well as soften and close. Also, what you can do is you can apply effects to them. It's a pixel layer, so the effects can modify this design in all kinds of ways. You can also apply some effects. The key thing is to make certain the move tool is selected for some of the things like distortions. So filters, distort and deform, and then add some pins. I'm just going to add a couple of pins, and then you can drag this and you can see you can distort this design in all kinds of unique ways. The effect is still there, still applied, so you can see you can distort that, maybe add another one there. Now sometimes the pins will ignore you, but not always. You just drag this off and distort it to create something pretty unique. Of course, once you've created that, again, you can then rasterize it. So again, layer, and go down here to rasterize. Make certain you turn this off and rasterize. And then again, you can apply maybe one of these effects like that. And sometimes it will have a result. Hope you found this of interest. Any questions, please let me know in the comments below. A like or dislike, always appreciated. Bye.